the players are sitting down. All right. Mike, you want to kind of, it's going to be Quinlan Vault, and then kind of do it up. I have to reset the overlays right now, so.
You do that. I'll take voice. So we've got John Tatta on the Qi'ra Data Vault deck, and Blue Mage on Quinlan-Tarkentown. This is a match where the Quinlan deck is probably going to be trying to hit the hand pretty hard on Qi'ra and get them going hellbent, which is a magic term that means no cards in hand. The advantage of a deck like Quinlan into a deck like Qi'ra is that Quinlan can stop resourcing at some point, usually around 5 or 6 resources. Often doesn't even have to play the 6th resource unless they absolutely think they need Han Solo in the match, which I can't imagine will be the case too early. And then Qi'ra, to take advantage of all of the cards that she wants to play, has to continue resourcing. So the hand destruction becomes exacerbated where not only is John going to be playing without a hand through portions of this game, but he's going to have to continue to resource to get to his best cards or play 2 cards at a time. So that's when a deck like Quinlan can take an advantage by keeping both cards in their hand, staying at 5 resources, and just continuing to not run out of gas. So that's what I would expect to see out of these guys. With the Data Vault deck, you're adding 10 cards to the deck, so you don't necessarily see your ramp, but if we're rooting for John, like I will be neutral, but obviously would like my teammate to win. He's going to be looking for a Pershing into ramp, ideally resupply, but also if he hits Pershing, Super Laser Tech is perfectly fine.
And I know a lot of we talk a lot in the Quinlan channel on KTOD and then some other ones too about Qi'ra being a struggle for some players. We saw Michael really play some good lines into a Qi'ra Vault last time, but this is not an easy matchup for Quinlan by any means. They don't always go as well as what Michael had with that much discard.
Not at all, but also one of the things that Qi'ra can do here, which John did, which is just claim turn 1, and now he's playing with an extra card in hand. Yep. That also makes his Childson better because he can now keep extra blue cards in his hand instead of having to resource them. So, like, Qi'ra often will power the dark side turn 2 after claim. Yep, so we're going to see John do that here.
Right.
And then, the Quinlan deck is going to be ahead a unit for the next 2 turns until he can flip Quinlan. So Quinlan is going to be looking to do like either a Qi'ra or an Ahsoka here to sort of like brick John's hand. But John has the initiative and will have an opportunity to play a takedown or another power of the dark side here. Super Rider. Yeah, the extra 3 life is important, and the lack of consistency is okay because it doesn't hurt the percentages that much. It doesn't hurt the math that much. But what it does is it's way harder for your opponent to put you into check. Your opponent has to work a lot harder to get to a place where they can do a one strike kill on you. So it makes the entire tempo of the game change. So we see ramp. So ramp followed by whenever you're ready, you can jump in on the play-by-play. But I'm gonna take it to give you a breath.
This is not good card, Quinlan. Somebody here is using a Rebels list, which is close to my heart.
Yeah, this is a Rebel Quinlan, and we just saw a Wing Leader buff. Luckily, this ramp is gonna make it so Qi'ra can actually trade with Ezra.
Right.
With 1 resource up, he's praying for a force throw. It's not a force throw, or he would have just slammed that thing.
Force throw would have been backbreaking, particularly if it hits the other side and kills Qi'ra. But Rebels probably has a little bit better lines into Qi'ra because of Wing Leader, primarily. And that card is not positioned great overall, but it's still a very good card into Qi'ra.
This is huge for... If Tatta has Barrage, he should just claim here, right? And wipe the board. So This is a telling attack.
And this is Logan Lees, is our Quinlan player here. And we're very close to be able to release the deck list.
It does still say Tyler up on the screen.
I think Logan appears to be running my Rebels Quinlan list from your Discord. Very close to it.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, you still have Tyler and
yeah,
Han Green on the top half of the
we're we're
overlay.
we're halfway there, but I got excited when I saw that
Okay.
wing leader.
Yeah, all good, all good. Yeah, so taking the Qi'ra trade there is tough. That means that Tatta didn't have a barrage, or else he would have just claimed and did it. So he's going to be playing a little bit on the back foot here. Luckily, with the ramp though, he will be hitting things like Vader and Maul and Reinforcement Walker pretty quickly, and he's only taken 7 damage, and he's only facing down a naked wing leader.
So the ramp really changed it. I mean, if Qi'ra did not find ramp, given that opening, I mean, that could have been a world of hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I think it went as well as possible. I mean, obviously, I think he wanted a barrage, but here, he's going to the 6 resource turn. There's no Quinlan flip yet, so we're making a 5/5 Childson. And the shield isn't as strong in this matchup because of Quinlan pings, but it's not nothing.
Right. And they
especially
don't always
in a
line
world
up.
where Tarkhan hasn't happened yet.
They don't always line up. And once you get to Lake Avenger, I mean, if you shield that, I mean, Quinlan.
Yeah, but with Quinlan flipping, everything well, not everything, but if he has like
less
Plo Koon here,
right,
it doesn't really matter because it'll just get pinged off.
And a Plo Koon is actually probably what he. Well, is that a 6/6 Childson? I'm just popping back to the game.
No, it's a 5/5 Childson.
I suspect he doesn't have Plo because he
so
uses his leader.
That would have been a scenario where Tatta passed, and if he had put the shield on and the blaster's the only thing that he had, then yeah, that would have been an insane situation for Tatta. But as a result, he passed instead of putting the shield on. I don't know what he was holding up. I guess if he shields, he can. It allows Quinlan to Tarkhan Town and ping the shield back off. But it would waste the Tarkhan Town, which he doesn't have done right now.
All right, so this is a good start for Quinlan. That's Jin Urso, which tells me that which is a very strong card into Sabine. Not as powerful necessarily into Quinlan, but
yeah.
One of the cards that does have its uses. If something dies on Qi'ra's side, becomes a 4/2 with Saboteur.
Yep. So we're gonna see Tatta make a stabilizing play, either Vader or Maul. It's a Vader. Depending on how much build he can get off this, he might buy some time to needing Super Laser Blast. If he did something like Vigilance, I would expect him to just Super Laser Blast. And then this is an absolutely devastating hit.
Yep.
Because the Death Trooper is going to kill Jin, and then Vader's going to kill Quinlan and not die back. Right. And now the board is flipped. So a pretty much ideal situation for Tatta right there.
Yeah, that was a very good Vader. Absolutely.
Yeah, Mickey, I don't know if it's GG just because there's so much game left. Tarkhan Town hasn't even been used. But this is going to be tough. And I don't know what's in the Quinlan Tarkhan Town list, but if it's got a heavy space fleet, I could see the tables turning a little bit. Oh, and here we go. Falcon right on time. Oh, look at that. Look at that. 3 ships.
Yep.
Like I called it. I haven't seen this list.
Space fleet over it's almost like you play this game and you're decent at it. So
play this game once in a while. Yeah, so this space fleet is probably if Tatta has a Super Laser Blast here, he's not sweating. But the 3 ships is a little rough. And the 2/1 is good because a devastating gunship actually gets to kill something in space here. And then putting a shield on it will make it attack for 5, so it can be a stabilizing force. But this is why the Data Vault is going to come into play, even at 12 damage. There we go. So wasting no time, hitting that Super Laser Blast. The game is reset. I think Logan is on 5 resources. I don't think he resourced this turn. So he's not going to have a ton to play.
But I think it was important to force that blast. I mean, without the space fleet that emerged out of nowhere, I don't know that that's the line that John has to take.
Yeah,
Quinlan's got lots of things that can play ready. Hopefully he can find one.
Yeah, I mean, you have to force it at some point. We'll see what Tatta... I don't know how many cards Tatta has in hand, but it's always nice to have that Hillabon. I'm sure he was holding that Hillabon in his hand for things like Force Throw and,
Right.
it's a waste of a card. But if Tatta's going to 9 here. I would stop at 9 probably if I were Tatta. You want to start getting some cards in hand, unless he's got if he's got Devastator. Obviously, he has to keep cranking. But what you can do now is you can sit on 9 and play what you've got. And if you take a turn to like draw 2 and you don't draw like a resupply or something, you can start to build your hand up and then begin resourcing again later. All right, so 9 here. Got to imagine if he's tapping 9, it's an Avenger. I don't think anything else in the deck costs 9. Obviously, a really good card against something that can't go wide, and following a Super Laser Blast, it's really tough to go wide once again. All right, so Qi'ra's going to show us the hand. So that Reinforcement Walker and Maul and No Glory. That's a great hand for Tatta.
That's a pretty good hand.
That's the dream right there, is having like 3 really good cards when they Qi'ra you and be like, okay, you choose. You tell me how you want to lose. Or not necessarily lose, but like you tell me how you want me to take care of the situation.
Right. I mean, I'm going to say that Tatta did it that way to say that Walker was called, because he.
Oh yeah, it's slow and glitching a little bit for me.
It sure is, and it's for us too. So we do have one of the best in the business, Symbiodes on the ground. Pop there. It's a struggle. I think that Wes from Sea Raptor said this morning. It's like trying to bring live TV out of cornfield, essentially, that you have a power, plug to. So hopefully our hotspot holds up, because this is a heck of a match. I think that where do you think the players are positioned as we sit, as the camera's struggling to catch back up?
Well, I mean, I love that hand for Tatta. It really depends on how much gas Logan can bring. But I did like, the thing that I mentioned at the top of the game is that, I expect Logan to stop resourcing pretty quickly and make sure he can start playing 2 things in a turn. So like, as long as he has like 6 resources, 7 resources, he should be able to play 2 things at a time.
Yep.
But he doesn't really have a great answer for this Avenger. So it's kind of a race. And if Tatta gets off that Reinforcement Walker, he's on 10 resources right now, so he can play the Reinforcement Walker next turn anyway, but he can also just maul. Yeah, so he can maul here. Yeah, I mean, Mickey D, yeah, Ezra isn't a lot, but he's kind of ideal in this situation where he has to be answered, and if he's not answered, you get to do things like Force Throw or play cards off the top of your deck. So this is a great position for Quinlan.
And he knows that there's some big cards in there. Right. I think that he has to discard No Glory and lose Maul, because he's got to take care of Ezra. I mean, it's very possible that now Logan has a second Force Throw in hand, and you got to turn that off.
Being able to follow up with the Power of the Dark Side there is huge, because now Avenger gets to sit, because he Tatta knows that Quinlan can't kill the Avenger. He can only waylay it, and that's if he's playing waylay. I guess he could bamboozle it too, but like, it's gonna kill whatever he plays. And Tatta has the Reinforcement Walker, which he wants to play anyway. So Tatta can lead with the Reinforcement Walker, gain 3, and wait for Logan to play something, and then kill it with Avenger. So this is a very, very difficult spot. And not only that, but I mean, Tatta could just attack right away and put him to 18, because now he's in check, right? Oh, and that's what Tatta does. He just puts him at 18 and says, do you have anything that can stop me before I just claim and kill you? Because Quinlan can't do 15 damage in 1 turn with no board. Oh, and the Devastator follow-up. So that's going to be game 1 for...
All right.
Yep.
So, game 1 goes to your teammate. Is Tatta the right pronunciation? Now I've been, told, back ways. I know it's what everybody's
Tatta? I think so. That's what I say. He's never corrected me.
All right. So, shout out to him. Qi'ra gets over. I mean, I think that the ramp was certainly important because of the wing leader. I mean, if that Ezra just is able to hit for another turn before, I mean, that's there.
Right. That's when the data vault is maybe less consistent, right? Like when your opponent is able to make this explosive play and sort of put you into these lethal ranges, you kind of lose out on that extra damage and you're stuck with worse percentages hitting. So being able to hit your ramp there, big.
So we're not talking about exact list left, but for Qi'ra and Quinlan, I mean, if there's any available discard, if you have something like Jam Communications or anything that's event-based, that's ideal. I mean, you want to be bringing that into sideboard. And, I mean, you're the aggressor. So anything that, if you have any pumps left, too, that are in your sideboard to try to help you against aggro, those come in. What do you think for Qi'ra looking into Quinlan?
I would imagine that Tatta, I would guess that Tatta doesn't sideboard much at all here. Looking at our list,
Is that something
you could do the Palp's returns are handy. You can do things like cut high cost cards like the Devastator, like assuming you're not going to often get to 10, 11 resources. So you can play the Palp's returns. The trick is cutting things that you don't think will matter. Like what do you cut in this situation? Right. Like the high cost cards and the Devastator are fine. You don't really want to cut something like Super Laser Blast. Traitor can be a huge blowout if you steal something, if you ramp into stealing like a buff to Ezra or something. So it's just a matter of what Tatta feels comfortable cutting. But I would imagine that if anything, he's cutting Devastators and bringing in a couple Palps returns and probably not even like a full complement of them.
If you're just joining us, this is the last round of Swiss of the Richmond sector. This is essentially
win and in.
Yep, this is and lose and out. It is both of those. So both of these players,
bubble match.
Need to get in there. So and once it's top 8, it's a bracket. So if they can get in there, then it's anybody's game. After this, we're planning, and hopefully it will work, that we're going to hear from Ron at FFG from on-site. So we're going to try to do an interview. We're trying to get Michael on from Team Secret. Being the undefeated through this rounds is huge. I mean, I think he drew
one of 2 undefeated players at the tournament.
Right. Yep.
The other, of course, going 4-0-4.
5-0-3, I think. But yeah, didn't even get.
Oh, did he finish 5-0-3?
Yep.
No, it was 4-0-4 yesterday. 85th, unless there were 2 people who had multiple draws.
There was because one of them had 18 match points too. The 5-0-3 at 18, so like the same position as the 6-2s. But,
wild, yeah.
Was one of the sad souls that didn't get into day 2. When a lot of people.
All right, I can't see the hands very well, but I think Tatta has a Pershing, and it's like when you have Pershing with Data Vault, it's almost an insta keep. Yeah, you have Quinlan 1-0, but Qi'ra won the first match.
You're right. You're exactly right. See, I'm wishful thinking.
Well, thanks, chat. Thanks, Caesar. 007.
Yeah.
Oh, Tatta is gonna ship a hand with Pershing.
Yep.
Might just be trying to hit ramp.
Right.
Everyone in the chat now. Yes, we are fixing it.
Yeah,
Mickey D, there was a 5-0-3 and a 4-0-4. I was so enamored by the 4-0-4, I didn't even notice the 5-0.
I mean, that's a lot of draws. What deck was that? Was that Bosk or Qi'ra? Do you know?
Probably. I'm not sure.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe Trench.
All right, so sorry. 3 undefeated players at the event. My bad. Sorry, Michael. You're in a lot of company. All right, so both players mull. Let's see what we got here.
I see a Walker in Tatta's hands. Tatta is, we've had him on stream plenty at various things, but he is one that will often tip his hand for the viewer, which we appreciate. If you are on the feature table at something like this, it helps our coverage be a little bit.
Yeah, Tatta is an old hat at this game. He's been playing cards on stream for a couple decades now.
Right. Yeah, in fact, I ran into my opponent at the Chicago PQ, knew him from a different game, and told me that it's often John F. Tatta for
okay.
Reasons that were there.
Yep. Darn it, I have to play Tatta. Depressing fun fact, I'm older than John Tatta. All right, looks like both players passed. It's a pass game. No one wants to tip their hand. I think that when you're Quinlan, though, you generally don't want to pass into a deck with a more robust endgame than you, especially if you're going to try and do things like discard. Wait, did they pass again? They're on 4 resources now. He's leading with Qi'ra. See, now this is tough. I don't know if
both
the Logan
players
mull was just so bad.
It might have bricked.
Both players mulled, so it's possibly the mull bricked, right?
Yeah.
But like, look at that hand. Like, how do you like? Can you imagine being the Quinlan player and be like, I guess I got to fight through all those?
Yeah, and then
but he
if
does
I
get to
discard
name
him,
resupply here.
There's 2 cards in there that can actually bring it back, so that's awesome.
Yeah, 3 Bothans have win-ins. Good luck, Lego Pizza, to your boys in the chat there. This is one of my teammates is already in, and Tatta is playing to be the second KTOD member in top 8.
Secret got through with the only undefeated and untied deck. I suppose the draw is a tie too, but I mean that is to be expected with him and Alex. There,
so
I think
pretty
Josh
wild
Everly is secret too. So the Quinlan playing the Sabine is a secret player. So the top team's doing well, which is what you expect. Qi'ra flips. Qi'ra on Qi'ra violence.
Tatta's
likely.
First action of the game, like non-pass action of the game, is to simply flip.
And then gets immediately Qi'ra on Qi'ra violence. So sad.
Yep.
They're all killing each other over there.
The only person that can defeat a Qi'ra is a Qi'ra.
But I mean, this is not at all what Quinlan wants. That's jam. So that's a great card into Qi'ra. It's going to be able to get barrage or Palp return.
Yeah, well, you can't take the Palp's return, right? Like in this situation where you have 2 of the same card and one of another, like you might as well just fight through the one that you can't stop.
Right.
So he takes the barrage correctly. And yeah, jam is good, but the thing about Qi'ra is it's a lot of unit-based control.
It is.
So when jam isn't combined with things like Spark and K2 and Ahsoka, it doesn't get as oppressive. But yeah, I think we're in for a long one though.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure how. It depends how much Quinlan can hold up here. I mean, the leader gets taken out by Maul. No overwhelm. Ahsoka's going to hit the hand. That's a good development. He's probably going to drop a unit in there because he can play the units out of his discard pile.
Exactly. Yeah, Devastator's just going to sit there. So I wonder what he boarded out, because I think I probably would have boarded out at least one Devastator.
Right. Force throw?
Yeah, so here's just all the hand discard. Yep. And
Raj.
We're gonna see if all of that passing is gonna pay off and who it's gonna pay off for. Yeah, and T-Town's still active for Quinlan. But I have to imagine we're seeing Maul come right back, even though the T-Town is live. There was an opportunity, perhaps, because Todd is not under any pressure at all, to have waited on the Maul so that he could shield it and draw that Tarkin Town out in a way that's not going to be harmful. But he's still got 2 Palps returned in his hand. And this is something I talked about last game, but I think like Todd was thinking about not resourcing there, which I think is like perfectly valid. But it looks like he has Vader. Yep. So now he can shield him. You definitely want to, as the control player in one of these situations, is to like take one turn to not resource and build your hand back up when your opponent is hitting you like that. And usually around 7 or 8, right? Because of things like Vader Maul and Reinforcement Walker. And the Star Destroyers are always good, so they can come online a little bit later.
All right. And Vader is able to bring 2 units, which is real strong.
Yeah, this go wide strategy is great. I'm always hesitant to play Hillabon against something that's not like Sabine. But he should be in such a commanding lead here. Yeah. And I would imagine he actually shields the Hillabon in this scenario, that he's looking to turn the corner.
And, I mean, so Hillabon 2 for Quinlan. Quinlan leader is dead. So, I mean, it's not the case that Quinlan decks tend to run a ton of 1-drops. So, I mean, it's pretty safe.
So that shield isn't going to get pinged off.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. But no shortage of Ahsokas here.
Mama Ahsoka is a great card for Quinlan. Absolutely. I mean,
Oh, and another Vader. So there's Vader, Maul, Devastator in the discard pile, and Tatta is probably clutching those two Palps returns very
right.
tightly.
And he does in fact shield the Hyliban, which I really like that play. Tatta's deck looks to be mostly or exclusively hyperspace. Cards
Wild
popping
call
up.
from Tobias. I don't know what the luck factor is here. He didn't play anything for the first 4 turns of the game. But all 3 force throws from Quinlan, I think that guy should play a lottery ticket just as much. I mean, you always want to draw all 3 force throws as your as any deck. What deck wouldn't you want to draw all 3 of your forces?
It doesn't exist. I mean, even stuff where you're not using it for removal. I mean, if it's like hard
Will
control,
they ban force throw with the next set? Who's to say?
Oh man, no. Only your decks get banned.
No comment.
Don't get mine. Don't get mine.
No comment. We're about to talk to Ron. No comment. All right, let's see. What can Quinlan do? I mean, the fighting through the 2 Palps return's tough, but if he gets another jam here, like, and we're gonna see Tatta is gonna go right into the Palps return. He's just gonna get the value out of him as soon as he can because he knows they could get discarded at any time. It's possible that Logan has pillage even. So like your hand, now that he's been hit so many times, 2 Ahsokas, 3 force throws, his hand is never safe. So he's going to be more aggressive playing the cards out of his hand and not sit back on things the way you would expect a control player to. Yeah, Eekfoil. Sometimes we throw those packs on the ground. Don't worry, Seth Felker. I won't play any cards with force throw. So we get a Pershing out off of this Vader and another Hyliban. Those Hylibans have been straight gas here. And yeah, this does seem like an untenable position now. Even though Quinlan still has Tarkentown, even though there's no damage on his base, he's down 5 units to 0. And now Qi'ra has a card engine online, a card drawing engine online. And now we see the 3rd Ahsoka. And, if we ever get a chance to hear from Logan, I wonder if his mull was just no turn 1 or turn 2 plays.
I think he bricked, which makes me sad. And, I mean, actually...
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Rebels Quinlan should be a little bit less susceptible to brick than, kind of the bigger ones too. But, that is, and Star Wars Unlimited is a lot better than certain games that require specific cards for resources. At having big matches be decided by just really bad variants, but it still happens. Any deck can brick
for sure, and it could be a matter of sideboarding, right? Like you change the complexity of your deck when you sideboard, and sometimes you end up. I mean, I know I've been in this position where I'm like, why didn't I draw 2 drops? And I look in my sideboard, I'm like, oh, I definitely sideboarded wrong here. Yep. That's why I always try and prioritize what I'm taking out. And when I do coaching and stuff, I always tell people when people ask for sideboarding help, like only, focus on what you want to take out and then focus on what you want to bring in, because you can do a lot more damage to your deck by taking out the wrong cards than you can putting in cards that you think is good.
That's great advice. I've mentioned this a couple of times. I thought you had an excellent video last week on putting people in check too, which is an important concept that we've been talking about today.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, and it seems so basic, right? But like, it's not always the way we think about things. We don't always contextualize the game in the same way as others. So anytime I can like get someone to think about the game a little bit differently, I'm happy to make like a more widely educational video.
And Justin did a great deck neutral video last week too on bases that I thought was really good.
That's our stuff. Like, I really would love to never have to make a deck tech video ever again. But it's what people like, so
yep.
Sometimes you got to.
Isn't that funny how like some of the videos that are actually the best are the least watched, because of just I guess preferences of people.
Yeah, and it's tough to get someone to be like, I want to do homework.
Right.
Trust me, as a high school teacher, it is tough to get people to do homework. So
absolutely.
They don't want to do it. Yeah, so here's another maul, and we see Logan putting up the good fight, but he, at this point, I mean, Tatta can just go face completely with these Hylibans, and Pershing is powering them up. Oh, I thought we already saw 3 force throws, but there's the 3rd one.
Yeah, and I mean, he had he had great force throws, in the game. It's just you can't. I mean, he needed those first couple of turns to try to get some damage in on Qi'ra.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't.
Speaking of great SWU content, think about like the "Who's the Beatdown," which is a classic Magic sort of idiom. Thinking about like who has to put the pressure on, and Towernumbernine did a great article version of that. My brother did a great Know Your Role video about that. But like Quinlan can't out control and out top end Qi'ra, so it has to play the beatdown. It has to be aggressive. Lightsaber Larry, I teach high school English, and it's Professor Sapphire. No, just kidding.
It's Dr. Sapphire in a couple of years. Maybe at CCGs.
No, I stopped. A doctorate in CCGs would be cool. I was looking at doctorates, and then I started making Star Wars content, and I got too busy.
My dad and my sister are teachers. It's evident that you are from awesome. Some of your videos. So shout out to them. Shout out to my captain Poem, who's actually not doing a bunch right now because he's getting his master's and moving to, be a principal. God bless
administration, that guy. My enemy.
Yeah, my
no,
dad's
administration
as
is important too.
Get him started on he was a tech school
I'm sure
teacher.
Your dad and I would get along. Hey, again, we've talked about this because I teach at a tech school.
Yep. So, he's a tech school teacher, but he actually was teaching like half of the classes in the entire department, and then he retired, and he was able to get more money, and then also his pension the next year because of the way that the system worked, because they didn't have people to teach his classes, so.
Amazing. Tom Moot, teachers in Massachusetts get paid well, thankfully, but I know that's not the case in everywhere.
Yeah, it is not. But very
right,
important. Nothing's more important than that.
I know. I feel like we're filling air, but this I don't see, like, if we're getting to casting, like I just don't see a situation where Quinlan can come back here, and we see the Avenger here.
It's Logan. I've been in this situation. You've been in this situation where
same.
It's there, and you know what your deck is, but you're round 12 of winning in. You play it out. You never know what's going to happen. So
absolutely
I feel that, and shout out for an excellent run. And I want to find this guy after. He is running a list that look at this. He's winning in on Quinlan. He probably has been doing very well against Qi'ra throughout the tournament. I'd be shocked if he wasn't, because I do think that the extra oomph from Wing Leader can be important in a lot of matches, and I'd love to see some Jins.
And to answer a couple questions in the chat, because I think that's helpful, the order of the discard pile doesn't matter, and it's not in the rules that it has to stay the same. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the game and not our life? Sure. What would you like us to say about the game? The Quinlan is playing one card at a time. Qi'ra is going to be able to kill every card that Quinlan plays, and then attack base with the rest of the damage. And so, if you want to truly know that's how we know the game is over, because Quinlan is going to lose every single unit it plays as soon as it's played, and is at such a high life total, 30 HP remaining, that no amount of damage Quinlan can do will put any pressure on the Qi'ra player. So he will just be able to infinitely ignore everything Quinlan does if it wants.
Quinlan choosing to remove a Turtle 4. Just get some value.
Yep, and that's where to speak more about the game, if you're the Qi'ra player and Quinlan is removing your units instead of attacking your base, there's no pressure. And going back to who's the beatdown, Quinlan is never going to out control Qi'ra because of things like Palp's Return, Devastator, Avenger.
There's not in Quinlan-less, Avenger is an 8/8. Nothing can really kill it except for a force throw related thing, and force through by definition requires you to play a force unit. He's used all three, among other things. But I think that really this game was decided by the brick. That's what it is, and it had to have been a brick.
It had to have been a terrible hand for them to not make any play until the 4 resource turn.
Waylay the Avenger, which delays things a little bit. It's going to be probably Vader.
Yeah, you got to imagine he's putting a Vader out to rebuild the board. I'll say this: Quinlan is doing a great job at protecting his life total. I think Tatta is probably working a little too hard to not take any damage.
Right.
Just because he has 30 life left.
Yeah, I'd go so far as saying that Wu probably would have turned the corner right now. As Qi'ra.
Wow, daggers to Tatta. Look at that hand.
Is that's Avenger, right? Yeah.
There
So
we go.
so
So there's
Logan
the scoop.
concedes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great match.
Cool.
Shout out to Logan.
Hey, great run, Logan,
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
Quinlan Rebels. Incredible. And then congratulations to John for making top 8 at a sector qualifier. It's a huge accomplishment.